Hello everyone, welcome to the George Washington University REDCap 101 training. My name is Brian Gerald, the Systems Administrator here. Before we start, all questions and concerns will be directed to the email you see here on the screen, the redcap@gwu.edu. Once you email this email, it will turn your question or concern into a ticket, and we will get back with you as soon as we can. Also, throughout this training, you will be hearing from me and some voiceovers from Jimmy Burnett, a former employer of the CTSI, who has done a training over there also. All right, let's get started. So the objectives of this training will consist of the REDCap history and overview, GW's REDCap policies, the types of studies used in REDCap. We'll getting started, which is the basics of using REDCap. And we'll also have a walkthrough conducted by Jimmy Burnett, the user rights in the data access groups, and the best practices for data management. By the end of this session, you should be very familiar with the REDCap functionalities and interface. REDCap was created by Dr. Paul Harris at Vanderbilt University in 2004. It originally supported a small group of clinical researchers who needed a secure data collection tool. But now REDCap is available at over 4,000 institutions with over 1.5 million users, which leads to the REDCap Consortium being created in 2006. The consortium gives access to an established support system to help manage your local REDCap installation, as well as your institutional end users and collaborators. Consortium members contribute their expertise and assistance to each other free of charge. And currently in 2020, GWU has joined the REDCap Consortium and established a REDCap instance.
So REDCap stands for Research Electronic Data Capture. It is a secure web-based application for building and managing online surveys and databases. It's fast, flexible, easy to use. You don't need to have any coding or databasing background to take advantage of all the features in REDCap. Without you having to do any additional work, it will be available, REDCap's available in a mobile version for smartphones and tablets or in a typical desktop version. You don't have to do anything if you send, for instance, a survey to somebody and they open it up on their desktop. They'll have the desktop version. If they open it up on their smartphone, they would have the mobile version. You're able to, with REDCap, export data to data analysis packages, so it's very easy to export as a CSV that you can then open in Excel or import into R, SAS, Stata, or SPSS. This is a big advantage of REDCap over other tools, especially other survey tools like SurveyMonkey, where exporting the data in a form that's readily analyzed can be quite challenging. You can also set up custom reports in REDCap, so you can create your own queries and filters to generate however many series of reports that you want. And you can use that to subset your projects either by certain study subjects or by just taking a very large project that might have very many fields and questions to create a shorter report that you can view and export the data from only that report. You can also manage a contact list of survey respondents or create survey links within REDCap to distribute surveys, and REDCap has a bunch of built-in tools for that. We focus a bit more on the survey tools in the REDCap 102 training. You're also able to save your data collection instruments in REDCap as a PDF to print. This can be useful for IRB reviews, so you can just save everything to a PDF, print them out, and give them to your IRB. It's also useful in case there's some power outages or internet outages or things like that. You can always go to these PDFs as a backup. There's also some scheduling features built into REDCap and a number of other useful tools. REDCap also has some more advanced features. So it has some validation features which help you do some data quality control. These are basically things that you've probably seen before in other online forms. So there's things like email validation, to make sure that somebody's put in a proper email address that has an @ sign and a .com or a .org or a .edu. There's also validation fields for phone numbers, for dates, and so on. REDCap also has calculated field options, so it can do some math and calculations for you. Although I would recommend generally collecting the raw data and doing those calculations yourself in Excel or another tool, but it's possible to have REDCap do them for you. You can also upload files to REDCap. There's some branching logic features. There's an API for people that have a bit more coding background and want to take advantage of the API to push and pull records. You're able to do that. You're also able to set up some data queries and to use things like piping. Piping is where if you have collected a participant's name, you could pipe that into a field to customize it. You may have seen this in a lot of fundraising emails that you've gotten where they'll say, hello, Jane. They're piping in Jane from a variable that they've collected. You could also do that in REDCap to personalize things. And the major strength of REDCap is it was designed from the very beginning to comply with HIPAA regulations. So there's built-in user rights controls. I'll show you how to take advantage of those. Which just means you can set what features and what data access different members of your study have. And there's also a built-in audit trail for data security and tracking. So any change that it's made in any REDCap project is automatically put into a log. And you can go back at any point to see that, and that log can't be modified. So you know that a new record was created at this date and time. It was later edited by this username. This username exported some data from your project, and so on. All of that is kept in the audit log. And for those of you that may be working with FDA funded studies, REDCap is 21 CFR Part 11 ready. However, we haven't been formally audited by the FDA, which is required to be completely 21 CFR Part 11 compliant. So that is something to keep in mind. And if you have questions about that, feel free to email the REDCap support team at